perceived it would be. Not really, kind of. I'm looking at you, Kane and Great Khali. Hello, humans, and welcome back to another edition of the Retro Rumble, your one-stop shop for wrestling retrospectives. My name is Blake Spivey, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, because today we're looking back to 2007 and reviewing WrestleMania 23. 2007 was a wild time for WWE, both on screen and off. Here is just a small bit of things that happened in that 12-month period.
Austin's done the Donald!
What's up, Holmes? What up, G?
Okay, I'm just joking. It didn't all actually happen in the 12-month period of 2007. All of that happened by the end of June. Going into WrestleMania this year, there were three major storylines before the event. John Cena versus Shawn Michaels for the WWE Championship.
Yes!
The Undertaker versus Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yes!
And Vince McMahon versus Donald Trump.
What?
Okay, not really. It was actually Bobby Lashley and Umaga representing Trump and McMahon, respectively, where the losing billionaire would have his head shaved bald. The prospect of seeing Donald Trump or Vince McMahon bald caught the eye of a lot of fans and non-fans alike, which was proven by the buy rate. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, making it the second most bought pay-per-view in WWE history before the launch of the WWE Network. Number one was WrestleMania 28, which was headlined by John Cena versus The Rock. The problem with WrestleMania 23 is that McMahon-Trump was the key and critical rivalry used to sell this pay-per-view. So a lot of other matches that I haven't mentioned already are kind of duds in terms of making a lasting impact on the business at large. Despite all that, though, WrestleMania 23 is still my favorite WrestleMania of all time. Now, I am a little bit biased. WrestleMania 23 was the first pay-per-view I ever watched beginning to end from the DVD that my parents bought me back in 2007. I always credit Jeff Hardy jumping off that ladder, hitting a seated senton onto Edge, who was planted on another ladder. I credit that as the single moment that made me a wrestling fan. So I wanted to, at some point, sooner rather than later, cover this event for the show. So let's get into it. Here's my review of WrestleMania 23. 2007 will arguably go down as the most underappreciated year of the Ruthless Aggression era, thanks largely in part to Donald Trump's heavy involvement with the show and what he did later in life, as well as what Chris Benoit did a little bit later in the year of 2007. It was also the epitome of the Cena wins LOL era, so a lot of people don't look at this time too fondly. And that is a shame because there's a lot of good stuff, especially here at WrestleMania. When I reviewed WrestleMania 39 last week, give that video a watch if you haven't already, I gave my top 3 moments from each night of the show and then graded the whole thing against my 10-point review scale. With this show, since it's one night, I'm just going to give my top 5 moments from WrestleMania 23 overall and then grade it against my 10-point review scale. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to give it to the stage for WrestleMania 23. I know that's kind of cheating, but this stage is one of the lasting memories of the Ruthless Aggression era for me. Everything about it, its grandiosity, it's irresponsibly huge for a WrestleMania stage, and that's saying something because there have been some big WrestleMania stages in the past. But WrestleMania 23 stage is so iconic and so Detroit and so 2007, if that makes any sense to you. It does to me, kind of. I think WrestleMania 23 is easily in my top 5 WrestleMania stages of all time. SummerSlam 2023 is set to occupy Ford Field for the first time in WWE history since this event. And WrestleMania 23 is a tough bit of competition for the upcoming stage for SummerSlam. Before I move on, just don't get your hopes up. The SummerSlam stage is not going to be anywhere near as good as this stage here. Number 4 is going to go to the United States Championship match between MVP and Chris Benoit. During MVP's entrance, Michael Cole and JBL point out that MVP in his rookie year has already faced the likes of The Undertaker and Kane, competed in steel cage matches and inferno matches, and is now in a headlining championship match at WrestleMania. Not bad for a rookie year. I just wanted to point that out. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Chris Benoit thing. You can research that on your own time. But I can't deny that Benoit's work rate, especially in the latter years of his life, some of the best of the Ruthless Aggression era. He carried MVP through his first WrestleMania match, and they put on one of the better matches on the show. And it's why it's my number 4 moment for WrestleMania 23. My number 3 pick is going to go to the Money in the Bank ladder match. All 8 competitors in this one got their moments to shine. Just to name off a few, you've got CM Punk in his very first WrestleMania competing in the opening bout. You've got Hornswoggle trying to help Finlay capture that briefcase for the first time. You've got Randy Orton hitting an RKO frenzy. You've got the Jeff Hardy Edge spot that I already mentioned. And it all leads to Mr. Kennedy winning the briefcase. A white-hot winner at the peak of his push, getting ready for potentially a world title win somewhat down the line. It's a shame that he never got that moment. And it's a little conflicting for me because I feel bad for Mr. Kennedy and the loss of his push, but at the same time, that spawned my favorite Money in the Bank cash-in of all time when Edge cashed in on The Undertaker after that steel cage match with Batista. Number 2 is going to go to the WWE Championship match between John Cena and Shawn Michaels in the main event of WrestleMania. Shawn comes out to the DX theme, having the glow sticks. It's a great moment, homage to Triple H, who's out with injury at this point, and the crowd ate up every second of it. John Cena, on the other hand, does probably the most 2007 thing I've ever seen. He drives a Ford Mustang at full speed into Ford Field and crashes through a glass pane with the WrestleMania logo on it. Like, only in wrestling would something that dumb fit so perfectly. These two go nearly half an hour in an all-time WrestleMania classic. Now, usually in the main event of WrestleMania, blood isn't spilled that often, but here it works because it shows the true desperation after such a long encounter, such a long match, that both men want to walk out of Ford Field as WWE Champion. And it worked perfectly. The crowd was on the edge of their seat throughout the entire match, all the way up to Shawn Michaels finally being forced to tap out and Cena retaining the title. Truly, truly great work out of Cena and Michaels here. My number 1 moment from WrestleMania 23 has got to go to the World Heavyweight Championship match between Batista and The Undertaker. Both men's entrances were fantastic, bringing out that grandiosity and scope of the stage at WrestleMania that I brought up in number 5. The match itself was awesome as well, as the spot with Batista going off the top rope out of desperation, the spot on the announce table, Undertaker hitting a last ride, Undertaker hitting the tombstone to win. It was just a phenomenal championship match in a vacuum, and it also helped solidify The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak as a dominant part of WrestleMania season. Something I will note is that I would probably perceive this show exactly the same as I do now if Batista and Undertaker had gone on last instead. It proved that both World Championship matches were equally viewed in the fans' eyes as great moments. And either one could have gone on last. You could swap the two entirely and have Cena and Michaels in the same spot Batista and Undertaker were in and vice versa. And I think the fans still would go away happy because both matches were phenomenal in their respective areas. It was just a great show overall in terms of World Championship match quality. As always, my grade on my 10-point review scale depends on if the show got over who it needed to, the overall quality of the show itself, and the spectacle of the event overall. For WrestleMania 23, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Now, giving a 7 out of 10 to my favorite WrestleMania ever seems a bit odd, but I can't deny that this show could have been a lot better than it was. Having Trump McMahon being the crucial point of this whole pay-per-view build left a lot of the other parts of this card, especially the women's division, but that's a video for another time, left the rest of the card lacking, and not a whole lot of huge moments out of most of the card, and some kind of felt wishy-washy and not incredible moments like they kind of perceived it would be. Not really, kind of. I'm looking at you, Kane and Great Khali. But the world title matches were great. Benoit MVP was great. It's WrestleMania. It's just an incredible event. So I feel like a 7 out of 10 feels right. Because it wasn't the best WrestleMania of all time, but it was still a pretty dang good show from beginning to end. Well, folks, this has been my review of WWE WrestleMania 23. Do you disagree? What would you give WrestleMania 23 according to my 10-point review scale? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when my videos post. This is a wrap on Season 1 of the Retro Rumble, and I've had a blast doing this for you guys, but I gotta be honest for a second. I'm still a college student. I need a little bit of a break to focus on finals season. But I promise you this, in the summer, the Retro Rumble will be back. It might look a little different, but I promise I will be back. So like this video, watch the old videos, give them a like if you haven't already. Be sure to stay subscribed to the channel, and I promise you, I will be back for Season 2 of the Retro Rumble. I thank you guys so much for watching me throughout my entire journey of these last 8 weeks, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming months. So until next time, I'll see you in Season 2.